and thanks for joining. If you're new here, I'm Wendy and this is Nina's Jewels. My husband and I buy things at garage sales, flea markets, thrift stores, just about anywhere we can find things to sell online and flip for a profit. If that's content you're interested in, you're in the right place. Today's video is going to be what sold for February 18th through 24th. Let's get started. The first thing we sold was a pair of leggings. The brand was Carmen Ann. They had an all-over print that said "Fur Mama" and "I love my fur baby." They were kind of like a one size women's large, and those sold for $13.58 on offer to buyer. We had gotten those in a box lot of like a mystery box that we had purchased on Facebook Marketplace. And we ended up getting that box for free because the seller had sent it to us and there was a large amount of postage due when we received it. And we contacted Facebook Marketplace after receiving that and we ended up getting that for free. And actually we luckily did not have to pay the postage due because the post office took pity on me because I was like really confused when they let me know, and we just got paid for something also. We sold a coat. And actually the post office did not make me pay for it either, which really surprised me. But so we ended up getting that entire box for free. So we had no cost associated with those. But we did have them in our store for a very, very, very long time. But we did get positive feedback on those. Although it was a little bit like positive feedback with a little bit of a complaint in it. They said that they weren't as buttery soft as they were expecting them to be, but you know, positive feedback is positive feedback, so we'll take it as long as it's positive. Next up was a pair of kids suede boots by the brand L'Amour. These were brand new. We got these when we purchased a big lot of kids shoe liquidation, and this was in that. These were brand new suede studded boots, which I thought was a little bit weird to sell this time of the year because people are preparing for spring and summer, but we were happy to sell them. These sold for our full asking price of $34.99, but I do think the buyer applied a shoe coupon or promotional discount that we had running in February, and so there was that. But our cost on these shoes were $9.10. Next up was a package of Avery inkjet note cards and envelopes, new in the package, sealed. We had gotten these at a garage sale for $2 and they sold for our full asking price of $19.99. Next up was a vintage book. It was U.S. Navy The Blue Jackets Manual from 1959, and it was a hardcover book. We had gotten this at a garage sale for $1 and it sold on offer to buyer for $25.58. Next up was another book. This one was a really large hardcover book. It was called CRC Handbook of Chemistry and Physics. We got this book at the Hoarder Estate Sale. We paid $4 for it and it sold for $19.18 on offer to buyer. Next up was another pair of the Barbie yellow shoes that we got at Goodwill, at the Goodwill bins that day. These were just pointed pumps or heels, and we still have several pairs of those yellow Barbie shoes. That Ziploc bag was full of yellow Barbie shoes that day. These we paid 61 cents for, and this pair sold for $9.28 on offer to buyer. Next up was another item we got in the Goodwill bins. This was a Kickerland design Bordeaux wine magnetic corkscrew bottle opener. It was brand new in the package, sealed. It sold for its full asking price of $9.99, and we had paid 68 cents for that in the bins. This took a very long time to sell. I'd probably pick it up again because it was new in the package, and it's not something that I would probably take the time to comp, but it did take a really long time to sell, so I don't know. You know, it didn't take up any space though. Next up was a TKO brand. It was a sit-up bar for exercising, or you could attach it to a door, I guess. It was an exercise piece of equipment. This we got at a garage sale for $2 and it sold for our full asking price of $28.99. Next up was the very first thing that sold from our most recent storage auction buy. This was a set of 2 Mexican folk art concrete sleeping man statues. So they were little, they were about 2.5 inches each. And we actually found 3 of these statues, but one of them was a little bit different than the other one, so we listed that one out separately and did these 2 as a pair. So these sold first, and they sold for $15.28 on offer to buyer almost immediately when we listed them. And we had paid just 28 cents for these. So when we did the math on this unit that we purchased for $75, it came out that we paid either 28 cents for almost everything, and then there were a few items that I kind of had to wiggle the math on a little bit, and I said we had paid 29 cents for them. But we got positive feedback on this listing. Next up was another pair of shoes from the shoe liquidation purchase that we did. We sold a lot of shoes in February because I was running, I think, a 20% off sale on kids' shoes. This one was a pair of saltwater sandals, the fuchsia sweetheart style. These sold for $39.99, and we had paid $9.09 for those. Next up was a subscriber sale, and this item went to our subscriber Sandra, so we really appreciate it. Thank you so much for your purchase, Sandra. This was a 2 3/4 inch miniature rubber glow-in-the-dark alien. So it's just a little alien figurine, and we got it out of the recent storage auction that we purchased. And it was so cool looking because it really glowed in the dark, like super bright. I took it into the closet over here and closed the door and was surprised at how much it still retained its glowing ability. So you can see from the picture over here how much it actually glowed. It glowed a lot. So it was a really cool little figurine. And I questioned whether or not to list it, but I'm glad I did because Sandra bought it, and I hope you enjoyed it, Sandra. I think you said it was going to go to your daughter-in-law, so hopefully she enjoyed it. So that sold to Sandra for offer to buyer of $8.48, and we had paid just 28 cents for that out of that storage auction. Next up was a pair of earrings that were mine, but I actually never wore them because I am the worst about changing out my jewelry. I just wear the same pair of earrings like all the time and never change out my jewelry. So this was a pair of 1.5 inch handmade aqua blue and white swirl geometric glass bead dangle earrings. So they were actually given to me as a gift, and because I'm the worst about changing out my jewelry, I never actually wore them. But those sold for $8 even on best offer, and I had no cost associated with those because those were a gift from a very long time ago. The next 2 items went to the same buyer, and they were both the saltwater sandals. The first one was a pair of white sweetheart sandals. These sold for $42.99, and we paid $9.09. And the next pair, which went to the same buyer, these were a pair of pink sweetheart sandals, and those sold for $30 even on best offer. So she bought the first pair, I think, at full price, and then asked for a discount on the second pair, which we accommodated, and we had paid $9.09 for that pair as well. Next up was an item that belonged to my daughter. This was just this was one of her old toys, and we had this listed in our store for a very, very, very long time, like maybe 4 or 5 years, and it finally sold. This was a Blip Toys yellow, pink, and purple crib. It was like a little dollhouse size crib, and I could not figure out where it came from, like if it came from a toy set or what. I had listed it a long time ago, maybe before Google Lens was a thing, or maybe before I was aware of Google Lens. So I maybe should have Google Lensed it like when I did our inventory again to see if I could figure out what it was, but it didn't matter because it did sell. So, but I could have maybe gotten more for it if I had figured out exactly what it was. But that sold for $9 even on best offer, and we got positive feedback for it, so it doesn't really matter now. Next up was another pair of saltwater shoes. I maybe need to do another sale on those in the next couple months because that sale really helped us to move. This one was a pair of white sweetheart sandals, and those sold for $42.99, and we had paid $9.09 for those. Next up was a pair of women's Paige jeans. These were the Skyline ankle peg jeans, and they were in a black and white striped pattern. And we had gotten those at a thrift store. We paid $5.40 for those, and those sold for $44.99. Unfortunately, they were returned back to us due to a fit issue, and we do have those relisted. Next up was a really cute 8-inch weighted hedgehog door stopper by the brand Elements. We got that at a thrift store. We paid $3.24 for it, and it sold for our full asking price of $34.99. I have found that hedgehog items sell really, really well, and we just sell almost all the hedgehog items we pick up. So if I see something that's got like a hedgehog stuffed animal or a hedgehog, anything decorative to go around your house, I'll try to pick it up if it's cute, because people like hedgehogs. I mean, how can you not like a hedgehog? People like hedgehogs. And I do know that one of our subscribers and someone who also does YouTube videos, and I watch her videos, the name of her channel is Judy, Thriftingkcstyle. I'll link her channel. She collects hedgehogs also. She's actually purchased a hedgehog from us before. So there are people out there that collect hedgehogs. So hedgehogs is something you might want to be on the lookout for because they're popular. Next up was a pair of Arizona women's jeans. They were a dark wash bootcut jean. We got these in the recent storage auction that we purchased for 28 cents, and these sold for $16.99. Next up was a Nikon Coolpix camera. We had the box, the manual, everything. We got this at a garage sale for $15 even, and it sold on best offer for $45 even. Next up was a lot of 2 kids songs VHS tapes. We got those at a thrift store for $2.98, and they sold on best offer for $15 even. Next up was a vintage 2001 Fort Worth Public Library poster. And we got that from the other business that we own, which is a custom picture frame shop. So we had no cost associated with it because it was probably just something that either someone left behind or that, we collected somewhere along the way. That sold for $20.39. We were also running an art sale in February, and that item was included in that. Next up was a 2020 McDonald's Happy Meal toy. It was loose out of the package. It was not new. This was a Beyblade Burst toy. We got this in the Goodwill bins. We paid 67 cents for it, and it sold for $9.99, which I believe was our full asking price. Next up was a really good sale. It was a men's pair of Cole Haan hiking boots. We got these at a garage sale for just $2, and these sold for $90 even on best offer. And we had a lot of lowball offers on these, but I noticed that there was a lot of interest on these, lots of watchers, and I knew that if I waited, I would get a good offer on these, and we finally did. And it did not take more than a year for them to sell, so I was just patient and waited for the right buyer to come along, and we made a really, really good profit on these boots. So definitely worth waiting. Next up was yet another pair of saltwater sandals. This was the turquoise surfer style. These sold for $31.98 on offer to buyer, and we had paid $9.09 for those. Next up was a vintage board game called The Dictionary Game. And when we were looking at this game, it seems like kind of a precursor to the game Balderdash. It looked like a fun game. It seemed like kind of a hard to come by game. We found this one in the Goodwill bins, and it was complete. We paid 61 cents for it, and it sold for $27.98 on offer to buyer. Next up was a new sealed package of Marvin's Magic Svengali Trick Magic cards that we got in the Goodwill bins when we were playing Bins Bingo. We paid $1.18 for them, and they sold for $9.99, which was our full asking price. Next up was a women's Saint-Tropez 100% linen tunic. We got this at a garage sale for $3, and it sold on best offer for $24 even. Next up was a Zero, like Nerf style gun that shot foam darts, and we included 2 foam darts with it. We got this out of a thrift store toy bag, and we paid 19 cents for it, and it sold for $7.98 on offer to buyer. Not something that we would pick up if we ever saw. It was just in a thrift store toy bag, and we generally list almost everything we get out of the thrift store toy bag because we already own it, and almost everything usually sells, including this. Last but not least, I'll go over all of the collectible cards that we sold out of my husband's personal collection. This week we sold 5 cards for a total dollar value of $14.95. So that wraps up all of our sales for the week of February 18th through 24th. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let us know by hitting the thumbs up button. And if you're not already subscribed, consider hitting that subscribe button with the notification bells turned on so you can be kept informed of all of our latest content. And stick around for the next video that's going to pop up right over here. Thank you so much for watching, and we will catch you on the flip side.